Hello. So this is the week 7 recap of my data job hunt, days 43 through 49. So to start off, gonna go over the table of contents. In other words, what sections I've split this job hunt into. Just quick refresher. Number 1, work rate and scheduling. Number 2, technical skills is like math and coding stuff. Number 3 is portfolio projects. Not necessarily, they don't have to be portfolio projects. They just have to be some sort of data science project, like me applying my skills. Number 4 is non-technical skills, soft skills and stuff like that. 5 is documentation, like this. And number 6 is job applications. Okay, so let's move on. All right, first section, work rate and scheduling. So, quick refresher of the components. First component we got is this week's work rate. This is how well I worked and how much I worked during this week. Next section is work rate. It's basically how fast I'm working while I'm working. Then my daily schedule and also my work schedule. So this week's work rate, I worked a total of 845 minutes, which came out to 170 minutes per day, considering I took 2 days off. Over the weekend, went down to empty out my college dorm and visit some friends. So I spent most of the time on documentation. This was because the first day, the day I had blocked out to do my weekly recap, I spent a lot of time updating the template, so it didn't leave me enough time to finish it during that day, so I had to roll it over to the next day for filming. So I would like to spend less time on this documentation. I'm okay with spending more than other categories because typically when I'm updating my weekly template, I'm doing a lot of other small tasks in these other sections. So it's not truly 340 in documentation, but it'd be a nightmare to be like, okay, spent 5 minutes on organizing my portfolio project plan. I don't think it's worth the time to do that. So yes, moving on. So my average time worked per day for week 7 has increased to 170 minutes from 150 minutes. This small increase, I think it came from the desire to work more. In these weeks, I've had a set work session in the morning, waking up at 8:30, doing my morning routine till about 10 a.m., and then working until I eat, which is about 12:30. Typically, the work sessions lasted between 2 hours, so 120 minutes, and like 140 minutes. Just because I started to, whenever I like get up to go to the bathroom, or if I stand up, just like wandering around my room because I'm not focused, I'll pause the timer so I won't count that time. But after doing that typical work session in the morning, after I eat lunch, I'm like, I want to work more, even though I don't have it scheduled. So I'll have some unstructured work sessions. The reason the increase isn't as big is because since it's unstructured, I'm not doing it every day, even though I want to. And the work sessions might be pretty short bursts. I might get distracted and start doing some other task. Yep. So what I did related to my work rate, I organized my workspace, which would increase focus, which would increase how well I work or how well I learn. So that's one component of work rate is focus. And then these next two things, I bought these two things to increase focus. A door seal and a door sweep. The door seal kind of soundproofs my room, so if someone's like watching TV in our living room, then I'll be hearing that noise. But if I have the door seal, it's not as loud. And I know this is pretty effective because I actually used to have a door seal on my door, but my mom got our rooms redone, so there's a new door that took off that seal. So it's time to put it back. Similar with door sweep, but I think the primary benefit is less light coming into my room at night, so I can get some better sleep. And better sleep increases focus, hence why I bought this floor light. I also used to have floor lights, but I just bought like a stand instead of installing them like all around my floor, because that takes a long time. So instead I just got the floor light, or like corner light. This will allow me to have my room, one, no blue light at night, because I can pick the green or the red color, like LED colors, and I can have the room dimmer, so can have better sleep. And I'm not really worried about this, testing this, being like, oh, does this work or not? Since I've had it in the past, and it's that definitely helped me. Next part is watching videos at 1.5 to 2.5 times speed. So initially I used to do this, but I'm like, you know what? I'd rather just be more relaxed, listen to it at 1 time speed. I also feel like I might comprehend more, although I've never tested it. But instead, after reading Scott Young, he wrote an article about this. There's actually data or research to show that comprehension really does not change too much when you increase the video from 1x speed to 2x or 1.5x speed. The lack of comprehension usually comes from just the speaker omitting some type of information that you need to understand it. However, that doesn't address my problem of being like, oh, I just want to be relaxed, But during my work sessions, my goal is to pump out the most amount of work. So I'll be doing 1.5x to 2x speed during those work sessions. When it's later at night, I'm just chilling. I probably won't do that. So what I have to do regarding work rate, I want to include an additional structured work session, which I think should actually go under my daily schedule. This should not be under work rate. Too late. Oops. Next is binaural beats. This does help me focus. However, I forget to do it before entering my work session, so I want to add some cue so I can remember to do that. And ultralinear principles, I want to include this in work rate, so it's kind of more organized. One of them is focus, so I kind of put it here. And then fourth is I want to start using ChatGPT to help me learn and do things faster, because I'm pretty sure it can, but I'm just not using it, so I'm going to do some research on that. Okay, nothing really to go over here. I just wanted to get a step forward and write them down, all the principles on the slide, so it's a step in the right direction. Daily schedule. So my plan, I'm going to make a minor adjustment to my daily schedule tomorrow. Today's day 51. I'm actually a day behind recording this because I got sidetracked yesterday. Doesn't matter. So, gonna test that. Next thing to do, I actually did this last night, analysis on wake up times and sleep scores, because a lot of the time I'm waking up at some time in the morning, might be 7:30 a.m., then I'll fall back asleep. But there didn't seem to really be a good trend, so this won't influence the wake up time I'm planning. In the future, I'm wanting to test waking up earlier. I'm gonna do that. Also extending work session to 3 hours, which will also be done like this, since I'm going to keep my eat time the same, or my first meal the same. I also want to test eating breakfast, see how it goes. I mean, it kind of takes out intermittent fasting, which is a shame, but still want to try it. As well as adding a structured afternoon work session. I don't know when this is going to be or how long I want my lunch break to be, so I guess I'll think of a few times to try those. Work schedule, I do weekly recaps on Tuesdays. Every other day, I kind of just pick whatever section I want to work on by feel. Next section, technical skills. So, again, review the components. We got reading, practice problems, and teaching. Teaching's not necessary, but I enjoy it, and it also increases your intuition, or I feel it has increased my intuition for things I have taught. which is one of the things that can help me learn things better. However, it's typically slow. So, reading, this is what I had at the end of week 6. I had the introduction to the probability section of Ace the Data Science Interview. So this is what this basically is just a probability chapter of the data science book. So week 7, didn't do a lot of rating, just did law of total probability and counting. Keep in mind, these sections are actually really, really tiny, so this takes like a couple minutes to read. But I did take notes on these. Next are practice problems. I only did 6 practice problems, and as you noticed, I worked, what was it, about 300 minutes this week on technical skills, which is that 5 hours? Jeez, it is 5 hours. So this might seem like pretty inefficient. However, counting is a big weakness of mine. When I had like problems in math team or like practice problems a long time ago, I might be able to get the answer to the counting problem, but it might take me like literally the whole time of the test because I just not very good at spotting the efficient ways to do these. So I spent more time kind of digging into that. Did one conditional probability question because there's only 5 on the easy probability questions. Quick note on generalization, what this column means. So, for example, I believe 5.3, the question was, you have a 6-sided die, you roll it 3 times. What's the probability that each roll is increasing in value? So like a 1, 3, 5, that would be a valid outcome. So what I did was, since I don't have a great intuition for accounting, what I did was I changed the problem to, suppose you have an n-sided die and you roll it k times. What are the odds that the each roll will be increasing? Yeah, I think that makes sense. So I solved that problem. Apparently, after I solved it, I looked at the book. There's a much, much quicker way to do it. Of course. But my intuition is still gotten a lot better from that. So I may keep doing that on weaknesses and whatnot. All right, continuing teaching. I filmed the intuition for conditional probability in terms of area. However, that video was terrible. So I didn't want to bother editing it. I did like the overhead cam and then like pen and paper stuff. It would have taken a lot of editing, but so I don't think it was worth my time to do that. I also want to try some bare bones concept teaching. No fancy intuition. I've already got kind of an idea for a structure of this. Although I don't think it's super insightful in terms of my intuition when I'm teaching it. But we'll see. 3 portfolio projects, so I'm still undecided on the components, but of the 2, like separating it by algorithm type or step of the process, I'm thinking of splitting it. I'm leaning towards step of the process. Yeah. So what I did for my portfolio projects, I did the Titanic problem walkthrough of Kaggle's walkthrough. And I also started Ken G's Titanic problem walkthrough. If you don't know what this is, Kaggle's like a data science platform where you can do like machine learning competitions and problems like that. So I just did a walkthrough of an easier one, and then I also started Ken G's. Ken G's a data science YouTuber. His walkthrough is a little more in depth, it's a little more insightful. So I want to finish that and get through that. Yeah. Non-technical skills, did nothing. I guess what I have to do, I'll go over that. Still read the behavioral interview chapter of ACE's Data Science Interview, start answering the questions. Also practice my optoelectronics internship and gradient descent explanation. Speaking and presenting, I'm going to practice my enunciation. I think my enunciation has been better this weekly recap than previous ones because I'm just trying to talk a little bit slower and a little more relaxed. I also want to look into these other speaking skills I saw from this TED Talk, which was called How to Speak So That People Want to Listen by Julian Treasure. There's these 3 different skills you can have when speaking, so I'd like to look into those. Yeah. Storytelling. I guess my to-do right now is just like when to tell stories and when to tell facts. I think pretty much most of this weekly recap I've just been telling facts. I had a few stories in there, and also next part of to do is to look more into this. Next is documentation. Got these documentation components. Got the weekly recap. I've changed my second component from daily logs to just generally all my logs, and then I've got videos. So weekly recap, what I added is a camera box in this corner. You can't see it because the camera that's on me is over the box. I added this because previously, if you watch my previous weekly recap, the camera is over some of the text. So I put this box here so I can tell where the camera will be, so I can adjust the objects on the screen accordingly. I also changed that component, and then I also added the job app component slides. What I have to do, I want to replace this format. I have task completed and to do with something a little more engaging, like the reading slide of my technical skills. I would say is a little more engaging. But yeah, also want to add some animations, because right now, just looking at the screen, you're not sure where you should direct your attention. But if I got animations, it makes it much more clear. I also want some better object spacing, so like the slides look a little bit nicer. And then also, I'm not sure if I want to have descriptions of my components. So for this one, I don't have the descriptions because I feel this is pretty intuitive. But some of the other components, I have the descriptions there. But they may be, I don't know, clogging up the screen a bit. I don't know if that's the best term. But yeah, so that's the weekly recap component of documentation. Then I got my logs. I created the practice problem log and the reading log, which I showed previously in the technical skills section. I also want to create a structured log for work rate, kind of like the principles from Ultra Learning, so I can have a better feel for how to increase my work rate with each of the components, in each of the sections. I also want to create a log for non-technical skills. I'm not sure how I'm going to do this yet, or what I'm going to track right now. Only thing I can think of is, okay, I got my optoelectronics story, and then how many times I try it, how good it is. Well, that'd be a subjective measurement. Videos. I filmed my week 6 recap last week, and to do, which I'm doing right now, is try week 7 recap vid. Again, I want to try the overhead pen and paper video format, but with something that's much more structured, because last time I do it, I was doing it with different color pens and whatnot. But if I messed up, it screwed up a lot of stuff, so it was a hassle. And I also want to consider increasing editing on my videos. I don't think I want to do that yet, just because I don't think that'll. I don't feel like it's a skill that I really need to develop right now. I already know how to edit videos and how to cut it down. And like in this case, when I say editing here, I'm just referring to cutting down the videos where I'm not talking and there's small gaps and stuff like that, or I say something that's irrelevant. I feel like that's pretty intuitive, so I don't think I need to practice that. And I'm not really making these videos to be engaging or like, to reach other people yet. I don't think it's at that stage yet. So, yeah. Job applications. This one will be quick because I did nothing. Because same as before, I'm going to wait till I had some of these more developed before starting applying to jobs, because I think it'll just be a waste of my time if I'm applying to jobs right now, since I think the odds of me landing a job or an interview are incredibly low. So I think my time is better spent increasing the odds that I land an interview or a job. So, yeah, none. none, none, none. All right, that's the end. See you later.